And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from Kitchen 218 here in historic downtown Pulaski. It's time for the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented each and every single Wednesday by Leadership Logistics, LLC. Glad to be with you guys. It's time for the Week 5 edition of our program. Holy smokes, Chris Bledsoe. I just said Week 5 of the high school football season.
We're here.
Where did the time go?
We are here already. It's crazy to think. It feels like just a week ago we were doing the first coaches show in preparation for our opening week of high school football. Here we are halfway through the season already. So it's crazy to think about. It's been a lot of exciting football. None more exciting than the game probably we saw Friday night by the Bobcats.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. Let's dive right in. 27-20. Giles County gets a win versus Franklin County, and you and I were both there, and we braved the elements. There was some rainfall that came down, but Giles County and you and I, we survived. We had some sidekicks. Kadejian Townsend was there. Bryce Hagan was there. We got through it. What a win for Giles County last Friday night, 27-20. They're now 2-1 against teams in Class 5A. They come in 3-1 overall. Huge win. A lot of folks didn't know if they could go on the road and win a big game like that. And it was a little dicey. They fell down 13-0, but they ended up coming back in the second half.
It was a huge ball game, and I think something we learned about the Bobcats each week is they seem to become more and more resilient each week. There's been a couple of times this season, dating back to the opening week when we saw Lincoln County come out and kind of hit the cats in the mouth real quickly. We found ourselves, we were able to balance ourselves out defensively. Then we put points on the board and just kind of made a ball game, and then we got a victory. You look at when we went to Nolensville, again, that was a back-and-forth ball game. The Cats had several opportunities where could have threw in the towel, could have kind of pointed some fingers. Didn't happen. Just stay resilient. And then fell short in that ball game. I think we learned a lot that night, though, about, again, being resilient, making the plays when we need to make plays, and taking care of the football, just doing the little things that it takes to win football games. And it proved to be pivotal in the game against Franklin County on Friday night because there were opportunities, again, could have very easily started off 13-0. Again,
right.
You could have threw in the towel, braved the white flag. Didn't happen. We were able to put some drives together, put some points on the board, had some huge plays from offense, defense, and special teams that, again, really kind of turned the ball game around. Then the Cats, again, just made play after play, took care of business, and able to get out of there against a very talented Franklin County team with a big victory. I mean, it was everything that you wanted to see, and the Cats are trending in the right direction, getting ready, because, again, before you know it, we'll be talking about playoff time.
Yeah, no doubt. We're halfway through the season, and, Chris, you made a great point a moment ago. 13-0. And you and I kind of are looking at each other like, holy smokes, this is not looking good. The Cats had an offensive play that led to a turnover for a touchdown. There were some things kind of brewing that didn't just quite feel like Bobcat football. But then in the second quarter, and we'll talk about this with the head coach, David O'Connor, coming up in a little bit. Second quarter, they kind of found their mojo. We got X Randolph on the scoreboard on a nice long touchdown run. And then special teams, you hear that cliche that special teams is kind of the unsung hero and it could win you a ball game. We saw it play out the other night. Franklin County, their punting unit and kickoff coverage, not the greatest. Giles County hung in there. When they had to punt, they got good punts from Chase Carden. And when they needed to try some field goals, first field goal attempts of the season, they hit 2 in the second quarter. We'll hear from Chase later tonight. He hits one from 38 and a 47-yarder to send it to halftime 13-13. Those were tremendous plays that we saw in the special teams game.
Just absolutely tremendous plays, and something that head coach David O'Connor touched on even Friday night in our post-game show. We see Chase go down the field, and we see Chase knock the 2 field goals down, which are absolutely huge. But I think what goes into that is everything that led up on that drive. Again, having the offense be able to drive the ball down the field, put you in position to score it was huge. I think, and that was the first drive when he hit the 38-yarder, but then the 47-yarder right before halftime, you look at what the offense was able to do. Kamari Turner at the quarterback position has done a tremendous job being able to game manage and make plays when we need to make plays and taking care of the football when we need to take care of the football. Him being able to lead his team offensively down the field, to put them in a position to have Chase to be able to kick a field goal and a 47-yarder at that, it was absolutely huge for the Bobcats. I have been saying this for the better part of 2 years now, that I am the president of the Chase Carden fan club. Me and him have a little off-air issues we're discussing about some apparel that he purchased, but we'll talk about that later. But, again, he was huge for the Cats. Great to see him do that. I feel like, and I say it each and every week, he is one of the top kickers, if not the top kicker in all of 3A football, and he proved that in what he was able to do Friday night for the Cats, which without a doubt, was a turning point in that ball game. That 47-yard right before halftime to tie it up really sucked all of the air out of the Franklin County fans and their Franklin County team, and the Cats just kind of rolled from there.
Cats get on a little bit of a roll. They do go up 20-13. But then we knew Franklin County, they suffered some injuries throughout the course of the night, but they did. They're a prideful team and very talented, very explosive. They tie it up at 20-20. Cats, however, go marching down the field. Again, Randolph had 2 touchdowns on the night, but it was Kamari Turner with the go-ahead 1-yard rushing QB keeper. And then Franklin County, they get the ball back, and it was a little uneasy, Chris Bledsoe, because Franklin County's driving. We know their kicker's not the strongest. You and I, at least, and Coach David O'Connor kind of backed us up. But it was the Cat defense, Giles County's defense, standing tall and deep in the red zone. They come up with a big stand and win the game 27-20.
It was absolutely huge. Defense has played well each and every week. I have been bragging since week 1 about this Bobcat defense and defensive coordinator Tanner Holly. Multiple weeks we have seen this defense for the Bobcats keep the Cats in football games, in games that could have been spread out. They have constantly came up with big stop after big stop after big stop. I think the most impressive thing I've seen from the defense and defensive coordinator Tanner Holly is the on-the-fly adjustments that they make.
Right.
Seeing teams do things that maybe we didn't see on film, maybe we didn't see that in practice, maybe we didn't prepare for this or expect them to do this here, but this is what's happening, so we're going to take this approach. This is what we're going to do, and the kids buy into it. And Tanner does a good job of explaining it because obviously they going out on the field and executing. That last defensive stand was absolutely huge. We had a couple players that were banged up, Rito and DJ Gardner, Kamari Turner, kids that had a couple of injuries that, again, just kind of tough it out. And that, to me, has been their going theme for this Bobcat unit because we've seen this week after week where we play bigger schools that have more kids, that maybe have a bigger roster, but our Cats seem to have more endurance. They seem to be more resilient because that's what happened Friday night. Franklin County had a lot of talented kids, but they had about the same 12 kids playing both ways all night. The Cats are in that same boat, but our kids are just a little tougher. They're a little stronger. They made plays. We need to make plays, and we come out with a big win. It doesn't get any better than that.
27-20, Giles County wins. Big win versus Franklin County. And still to come, we'll preview another big contest. It is a region week. You got to go up to Unionville, play the Community Vikings. First ever trip to community, at least in the football sense. So we're looking forward to that. And we've still got a lot to come your way here on Pulaski Citizen Live. We want to remind you, folks, we're coming to you live from Kitchen 218, and we have got the Bobcat Coaches Show presented each and every single Wednesday night by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics, LLC. Chris and I will be right back after this.
Companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics, LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose, to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics, LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
Pulaski Citizen Live is doing Giles County sports and community events like they've never been done before. Video of local government meetings and community events, as well as streaming of high school, middle school, and youth league games. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, and more are all on the PCL schedule throughout the year. Get your game called by the most recognized sports announcers in Giles County. So are you looking for your next meeting, event, or game? Make sure you tune in to Pulaski Citizen Live on YouTube and on the Mixler app. We're back, folks, alongside Chris Bledsoe. Wayne Neely, glad to be with you here on the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented by Leadership Logistics, LLC. Our friend Jeff Bain was in the house earlier. You never know about Coach Bain, man. He was here. He said, look, I'll be here for a minute, then I got to run somewhere, but then I'll be back. He's our proud presenting title sponsor, Leadership Logistics, LLC. Still to come, we'll hand out some of our hardware, your Scout Team Player of the Week, your Special Teams Player of the Week. And Chris Bledsoe, you and I talked about the special teams play. It was monstrous for Giles County. They got the big win versus Franklin County. We touched on the defense. Curious your thoughts, and we'll speak to the head coach coming up here in just a little bit. Offensively, it was not the sharpest night for Giles County. They found some rhythm in the second half, but it was less than desirable, I guess you could say, despite the fact they still put up 27 points.
I think that the Cats are in a filling out process offensively, and I think we've seen that kind of all year long, trying to figure out, again, what our identity is. Obviously, we like to be physical. We like to run the football. But again, though, we've got to have a passing attack that allows us to be able to spread the ball around. We saw that Friday night. Again, we would love to run into those 1 and 2 holes and run dives and traps all night, but it's hard to do when they put 9 or 10 kids in the box. So what we saw Friday night was, again, running to the outside, using some of those stretch plays, some of those read options to get out. We also saw Kamari Turner drop back, throw it around a little bit. What happens is, consequently, it allows your offense and it makes the defense open up. Like, you can't leave 9 and 10 guys in the box when we know we got threats out there on the outside. And we've seen that all year long from the Cats. You got 3 to 4 talented wide receivers. Tonto at the top of that group. I almost said Darius Gardner, but DJ Gardner.
No free shout-outs.
Happy belated birthday. I think he turned 14 or 15 yesterday, so happy belated birthday to you, DJ. You've got Trevon Dangerfield that plays a lot of that position as well. So, again, you got some – and then Dylan Williams is another one that we saw early in the season. Number hadn't been called as much, but, again, they can really play out there. So you've got the talent. It's just a matter of, I guess, filling it out. Passing game is a little different. There's a lot that goes into it. Timing, route running, just a lot of things that happen. And I think Cats are still kind of figuring it out. And to me, that's a great sign because you don't want to peak in week 6 of the season. That's not ever the goal. So as long as you're getting better each and every week, you're figuring some things out. Something else, Wade, that I always gets overlooked, but we've got a relatively young offensive line. You've got 2 sophomores that are playing a lot at those guard positions in Caden Reinhardt on one side and then Javion Dudley on the other. Now, again, they're surrounded by 3 seniors, but those guards are calling them to do big jobs. And so, again, just trying to figure that lineup out and those 6 guys that are going to get and the 5 that are going to start and be your go-to guys. So it's still a filling out process. We're getting better each and every week. The most important thing, whether you win ugly or you win big, it's all about winning.
Yeah.
And the Cats have done that on more times than not this season. So ugly it may be, but a win is a win.
Ain't no doubt. And you and I were not there, but real quickly, speaking of ugly wins, and speaking of our coaches show, tomorrow night up in Linville, the 3-0 Richland Raiders. I had to go deep in the archives. You got to go back to 1993 when Richland was 3-0. They started out 4-0. They got an ugly win, 20-0 versus Hickman County. That was a game a lot of folks thought could be a running clock situation. It was goose eggs at halftime. And then now the Richland Raiders kind of slowly building confidence. But that's a team also, they haven't played their best game yet, and they're somehow 3-0. And that really is, like you kind of touched on, that's the hallmark of a good team, when you can win ugly and you can find ways to win.
You hit the nail on the head when the last statement you made is finding ways to win football games. Coach O'Connor said it Friday night. Winning a high school football game is hard. At any level, it's a hard task. It's a hard hustle. So being able to put together a victory and win a ball game is huge at any level. And, again, kudos to Richland. It's not about, again, necessarily how you win it as much as, again, did you win the ball game? Did you do the things that it takes to win the ball game? Everybody has adversity. Everybody has issues. Everybody makes mistakes. You have stuff that's out of your control, the elements, the officials, whatever it may be. But can you get over that hurdle and all of those things to find a way to win a ball game? Former Giles County basketball coach Billy Holt sat in the locker room one night, I think I was a sophomore in high school. He looked us all in the face and said, guys, a ugly win is better than a pretty loss any day. And I've never heard something more true. Again, I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. So, again, I'll take it how we can get it. Kudos to those guys. Coach Patterson is doing a tremendous job up there. And the Cats as well, again, just each and every week trying to find a way to get better.
Huge win for Richland, huge win for Giles County. Both teams are in Bedford County this Friday night. Giles County goes to community, and Richland goes on the road up to War Trace to take on Cascade. Other side of this timeout, we will speak to Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. It is the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented each and every single Wednesday, live from here at Kitchen 218 by Leadership Logistics, LLC. Chris and I will return with the head man right after this.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you.
Citizen Media is everywhere. Get daily news, sports, and obituary updates in the Pulaski Citizen e-edition at PulaskiCitizen.com. Pulaski Citizen Live offers video and audio streaming of local sports, local meetings, and community events. Pulaski Citizen Social lets you know when and where the next event or update can be found. Love to hold that paper in your hand? The same Pulaski Citizen newspaper that's been printed since 1854 is available each week by subscription or on newsstands throughout Giles County. Tell your story with Citizen Media.
We're back here on Pulaski Citizen Live. It is the Bobcat Coaches Show, presented each and every single Wednesday night here at Kitchen 218 by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics LLC. Alongside Chris Bledsoe, we pulled the old switcheroo for folks that were watching during the whole time out there. A little move we like to play. And we're excited, as always, to be joined by the head coach of the Giles County Bobcats. He is the guru. He is David O'Connor. Coach, how you doing, man? Well, that's a title we've been throwing around, and we're still getting you to work on your microphone skills. But other than that, you're doing okay, my friend.
I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I didn't get the fancy headset. I'm going with the old standard mic.
We love that, Coach, and we were excited to talk with you Friday. Chris and I were excited we got the win. We were also excited we could get out of the rain, but you still made time to come up and join us. And man, Chris just touched on it a moment ago. An ugly win is better than a pretty loss, and the Cats kind of embodied that Friday night.
Well, yes, it was, and it was just an old-fashioned battle. I mean, it was a dadgum war out there for 4 quarters, and we withstood the early onslaught by the Rebels, and come out with a big win. And our guys battled their tails off for it. You know, came out a little banged up. Got a couple guys banged up going into this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to get those guys back. Our trainer, Taylor Shelton's doing a wonderful job trying to get those guys rehabbed and get them back out on the field.
Something that Chris kind of touched on is, first of all, has it blown your mind yet that we're in week 5 of the high school football season?
Well, that's like we talked to our kids about on Monday. I mean, football season is completely flying by. So if you're one of those guys that are a senior, you know, you got 6 weeks left of regular season football. That's all that's promised.
Yeah, and with that being said, we're in week 5. Now that kind of battle of attrition begins a little bit. We saw it with Franklin County. We had some guys dinged up. They had some guys dinged up. Now those adjustments and now the kind of scope of things changes as how can you get who you got available on Friday to get out there and get ready to play.
That's exactly right. You know, it's a good challenge, and it's really who can manage their roster the best at this point. We have we have a little bit of wiggle room, but not a lot. Our depth is not where we need it to be, and it becomes a big-time challenge when you're playing those classifications up 2 or 3 classes. When, you know, we'll play several 5A teams, and then we'll play Cleveland late in the year, who has really an advantage because, you know, you roll in there with many kids they got in that 6A high school. It's just a big advantage over a smaller 3A school.
No doubt.
Coach, you kind of talked on it there, and we talked about it briefly a minute ago, but you playing people up in classification. We've seen this kind of week in and week out when we go and we play our non-conference ball games. But it seems each and every week our kids are in better shape, better condition than some of the teams we're playing. Obviously, we saw that. We talked about it off the air Thursday about, again, Franklin County having about 11 or 12 kids. They're going to play both ways, and we're kind of the same way. Our kids just seem to be a little more tough when it comes to those aspects. What do you accredit that to and getting the kids prepared to play?
Here's what's happened. You go into the summer camp, and you're working on offense and defense. You got a lot of guys playing. You go through all the scrimmages, and you're getting a ton of playing time. But then when it comes down to game time, those kids then have to find out, who are we going to be able to play and stay competitive in the game with. And by this point in the year, our guys understand that there's going to be 4 or 5 guys that have to play both ways at some point in time during the season. And the only way that they can make that is get themselves in shape. And they have pushed themselves to a point at this point that they can now play enough offense and defense to keep us in the game.
And that has been huge. And when you talk about those group of kids that have to play both ways and they have to do that in preparation for the remainder of the season here, what do you do to kind of bring other kids along to kind of lessen some of that role as the season progresses?
Well, a lot of that comes from the JV games. We played our second JV game Monday night. And in those games, we find some guys that can play spots in the game, not necessarily play the whole game, or play every play of a possession, but guys that can do certain things, and we can use those to spell somebody for 1, 2, 3 plays at a time to give them a little bit of break, to come out, get them a sip of water, take a knee for a couple plays, and you'll be surprised how a minute and a half, 2 minutes off with 3 plays off can make a big difference with somebody.
It's been huge throughout the year. Obviously, looking at Friday night, it's a huge victory. You go into a ballgame, you talked about taking that first punch. You're down 13-0 in what seems to be like a snap of a finger. Like you're here, momentum is rolling. In those moments with the group, like what are some things that you say to your offense? What are things you say to your defense to kind of bring everybody back and be ready to just, again, play Bobcat football?
Believe it or not, there wasn't a lot said at all, and it doesn't have to usually be with this group of kids. We've had a group of kids last year and again this year that they expect to win when we walk on the field. So even though we went down 13 points, our guys still expected to win. We expected to win the game. I think Coach Holly and some of those other guys do a really good job of preaching to our kids every week that our opponents will break before we do. They will break before we do, and our kids have really bought into that.
You see it, and I know we've talked about it. You look at that first half, you get a big touchdown run. We put some points on the board from X Randolph, and then back-to-back possessions. We have, again, offense moves the ball. Carden trots on the field. He puts one up for 38. Then you get another stop defensively, move the ball again offensively. Did a great job getting the ball in position for him to be able to put some points on the board, and then he knocks in another one for 47 yards. Talk to us about the momentum swing that you saw in that about 5 to 6 minute span of football.
Well, I think really when X scored that touchdown, I think the game was pretty much, in my mind, was over at that point. I felt like our guys knew we were going to win at that point. That showed that we were going to be able to score and we would be fine, because our defense at that point was playing lights out.
Right.
Their only touchdown came on a scoop fumble and score. So it was just our kids knew we were going to win at that point. And then when Chase steps out there and nails 2 field goals, and he does what he does and ties us up at the half, there was no doubt. The only thing is, I guess the question came down to how much were we going to win by. We get one called back. At that point, I'm thinking we might win by 14 or 21.
Right.
But now, credit to Franklin County, they did put together a drive to go down and score one. But without that, I think, because we found a couple, some things offensively that we could do and get some success out of. And we're trying not to go to the well every time with it, but we got to where we could move the chains, and actually we burned a lot of clock as we were doing it, kind of controlling the whole game by just moving the chains. 2 or 3 plays for a first down and doing the same thing over and over and over.
You guys executed well when we needed you most. And 2 quick things I wanted to mention. We're talking with Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show live from Kitchen 218. We're here every Wednesday, and our proud title sponsor is Leadership Logistics, LLC. And, Coach, I was hanging with our good friend, former Bobcat Mr. Nate Bain, over the weekend. He tunes into the game every Friday night. And he says, man, I knew Chase was good, but and I want your take on this, to snap and hold and eventually kick a 47-yard field goal in a pressure situation. How can you put that all into words? That is a massive. We obviously saw an NFL team that couldn't do that in Nashville this weekend.
Well, yeah, we're really. We kind of thank God every night that we've got a really good kicker, and you don't always have that. We went for several years that we could not make a 47-yarder, and and a 47-yarder I knew was well within his range. He's pretty. I mean, he commonly makes 54, 55-yarders in practice, so I knew that was well within his range. But as you said, the operation time of the snap, the kick, the hold, and the kick, all that was perfect. And really it was perfect on 2 straight field goals.
Yeah, no doubt. And unless we go back deep in the record book, that is the longest field goal in Bobcat history. We had one that I'll let you speak to in a second, but Chase tried a 48-yarder in the game last year versus Columbia, came up just shy, hit the crossbar, but you had to go back a long ways before the Cats even had something remotely that close.
Oh, yeah. We ran Arnaldo Valdivieso out in 2010. In my era, that had been the longest field goal up to this point. And then of course, Chase broke that in my era of when I've been around. Now I've heard of guys back in the 90s and the 80s that possibly would have kicked one longer. But if they did, hats off to them, because that's a heck of a kick.
Yeah, and there's no huddle footage of those kicks. We'll put it to you that way.
It's on that old film. That's literally film.
That's on the film and the VHS. Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. Final question before we get you out, and we'll bring in Tanner here. Where does the team stack up injury-wise? You've kind of touched on a few. We know we saw Reed and Kamari and a few guys go down. Have they gotten better as this week has gone on?
Reed, he's been back. He's practiced all week. I think he got maybe a ding in his shoulder today. We had a team full scrimmage fight today. We call it 40-yard fight. We put the ball at the 40, offense versus defense. And I think he got banged up a little bit in that today. I guess our biggest question other than that is DJ. DJ went down late. We thought, and I didn't know till Monday. I thought he was cramping up late in the fourth quarter there, but he got a little banged up. He had a lower leg problem, and but they've been working on it all week. He's still not 100%, but he's got to where he can move much better, and hopefully we're going to have him ready to roll as well.
Like you called it, Coach, a war of attrition, and Giles County comes out on the victorious end. I got to think it's going to be big for confidence too. Yeah, you already lost one on the road versus a 5A team, but you got one right back versus a pretty good team in Franklin County in its own right.
Yes, we did. And I think Franklin County, Nolensville, those two got there. It's tit for tat, really, on how good they are.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. The Cats have won more than they've lost, obviously, but they've been some really entertaining ball games.
Really good
I know you aren't necessarily concerned with the entertainment value, but as broadcasters, we're a little partial to these entertaining games.
I got you. Yeah, I'm all for that 50-point win. I'll be honest with you.
There ain't no doubt, Coach. We'll let you get back to the table, and we'll speak to Tanner, and we'll catch up with you at the end of the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. That is Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. 27-20. The Bobcats get a good win. Man, on the road at Franklin County. You and I, we were in the trenches, and we were a little nervous, partner, but Chris Bledsoe, the Cats get a good win. And it's always good to see because that means Coach O'Connor, he's not always in a cheery mood necessarily, but he has a little smile about him whenever the Cats get a good win. And deep down he was proud of his guys like we all were.
Oh, for sure. He's always super proud of his guys, win, lose, tie, draw. He's always excited about their performance again, because for him and for good coaches, it's about getting better each and every week, and that's what we are. That's the goal, and as long as we can see that, obviously winning ball games is super important. I'm not going to throw that off by any means. It's super important, but if we're getting a little better each and every week, and then we win the games that we have to win. Again, We love to go play Franklin County. We love to go to Cleveland. And play Nolans. Like, all that's well and good, but has absolutely nothing to do with playoff football. The game Friday night, the game against Grundy County. Those are the games that you have to win.
Right.
So you want those, and you want to perform well in the others, and that's what the Cats have done thus far.
Yeah, no doubt. Alongside Chris Bledsoe, Wade Neely, glad to be with you. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we will speak to the maestro of the Bobcat defense. Defensive coordinator Tanner Holly will join us, and we will talk much, much more about Giles County's strong defensive effort versus Franklin County. We'll preview a tough matchup on the road Friday night versus Community. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show live from Kitchen 218. We are presented every single Wednesday night by Leadership Logistics, LLC. And we're back right after this.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose: to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
Pulaski Citizen Live is doing Giles County sports and community events like they've never been done before. Video of local government meetings and community events, as well as streaming of high school, middle school, and youth league games. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, and more are all on the PCL schedule throughout the year. Get your game called by the most recognized sports announcers in Giles County. So are you looking for your next meeting, event, or game? Make sure you tune in to Pulaski Citizen Live on YouTube and on the Mixler app.
Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency that helps companies enhance their brand while growing their business, as well as providing career development for young professionals. Whether it is a project or a career, professional guidance is valuable. We are experienced professionals providing fresh eyes and proven approaches geared to show you how to achieve your personal and professional goals. Regardless of your goals, success does not just happen. It is a byproduct of the people you surround yourself with and the guidance that is given to you. Successful strategies are not found in silos. They are found within professional networks. We can help you. Leadership Logistics LLC is an agency of elite professionals that have come together for one purpose: to help enhance someone great to become greater.
Jeff Bain is the founder and general manager of Leadership Logistics LLC. For more information, please visit their website at leadershiplogisticsllc.com.
Just like that, we're back here from Kitchen 218 on another Bobcat Coaches Show. We're presented each and every single Wednesday night by Leadership Logistics LLC. Tomorrow night, yours truly and Jennifer Hawkins will speak down with Richland Raiders head coach Nick Patterson as Richland goes to 3-0 for the first time since '93. Tanner Holly was not even born, I don't think, the last time that Richland was 3-0, but congrats to the Raiders. They got a tough game versus Cascade on Friday. And Tanner, we've been talking about the defense, and Chris and I have been singing the praises. If you look at the scores, it can be a bit deceiving, and we're at every game, obviously, but if you just look at the scores, you're thinking, what's the big deal? The Cats are almost giving up 18 points per ball game right now, but defensively, how would you assess your team? Because the last couple of weeks in particular are playing well.
Yeah, that's what I told Chris. We've improved every week, and that's what you look for is continual improvement. Don't make the same mistake. Make a new mistake. Ideally, no mistakes, but it's not a perfect world. Make new mistakes. Each game plan is a little different each week, depending on who we're playing, what they do, what we're trying to take away. And that's what we do. I think we're doing a little bit better each week is executing the game plan, executing, understanding where we want the ball to go, making it go there, and then tackling it when it gets there or defending it when it gets there via the pass, whatever it may be. And we knew that Franklin County was going to be difficult. They're fast. They had 4-5 guys, and I was pleased with our effort. I was pleased with the way we finished. We talked about, I don't know if OC talked about it or not, we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter ball game.
Right.
It was going to take all 48. They were going to get the ball in space. We were going to put an edge on the defense and put a top on the defense and then see what happened. And I felt like we did a great job at putting the edge on the defense. We let the top get off once, and then we gave up the one run towards the end of the fourth, I guess it was, 5 minutes going to fourth. But outside of that, I was pleased with our guys. They played well. They fought. We executed well, trying to continue to improve. That's our goal.
When you mentioned and you used the phrase, we put a top on it, you talk about, to our listeners, obviously you're looking at what your secondary is doing, being able to control the big play, keeping things from going down the field. Talk to us about how impressed you have been with your secondary, the likes of Tyreek Brown, DJ Gardner at your safety, and then Trevon Dangerfield, because we have seen a lot of man-on-man coverage this year against really talented wide receivers, and each week our kids answer the bell.
Yeah, they've done really well. You know, I told OC early in the year, first time in a while, we've been able to just play man-to-man and just put it – I mean, we play zone just to keep differences so teams don't get a man-beater concept against us, whatever it may be. But when push comes to shove, I got faith in 4 guys, Reed, Owens, and Trey Ballantyne as well. We can play man with anybody. And DJ over the top does a great job cleaning us up. And they work hard. They do everything you ask them to do. And it's just great to see that come to fruition. And the D-line up front has done a good job of allowing us to have more in coverage. You know, that sometimes in years past we haven't been able to do that because we hadn't been great against the run. And when you do that, you got to play single high. You can't keep cover downs. You can't keep 3 over 2. You can't play 4 over 3. You got to have extra hats in the run. Well, our run game has gotten better and better, stopping it with our up front guys. So we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to play top down essentially instead of bottom up. And that has made a big difference in the pass coverage aspect, as well as just we got guys that's played a lot of football that are athletic and can cover. And that's the biggest attribute to have in the secondary is being able to cover. And those guys can, and they do it really well. And I'm just pleased to see it.
You actually moonwalked me right into my next question for you. You see what your secondary has been able to do, and I think you explained it so well to a lot of our listeners. We think that a lot of times it's 2 different almost teams. You look at your front 7 and the back 4 secondary, but they all work in harmony. Again, it's hard to cover people for 15 and 10 seconds, you know. So having guys up front that can apply pressure. Talk to us about the benefit of being able to just rush 4 guys and usually get home when you want to.
Yeah, that is a huge benefit. You know, you watch the NFL, and obviously they've got the luxury of they can get a one-on-one with their certain guy and take it, and you ain't got to cover for long. And we're not blessed with that, for instance. Obviously, we're not in the NFL, but our 4 guys do a good job. We've been working a lot better on our get-offs this week, which makes that is the biggest step in the pass rush is getting off the ball before they do. And that's what we've been focusing on, trying to develop up our 4-game pass games up front with the twist and the stunt and the cross, add a backer in if we need to. But being able to do that and not have to deploy another hat in the secondary makes a big difference. Or worst comes to worst, we can always play man-to-man because I feel extremely confident in that if the 4 guys aren't getting home. But I'm extremely pleased with their D-line. They've done it extremely well, and we've had 3 extremely young linebackers.
Yeah.
All 3 of which have probably never, up until this year, have never taken a snap over 10 games in a linebacker. You know, now Cheese Gordon is a senior.
Right.
He played fullback for 2 years, and he comes over, and he's been a great leader for us. And we've got 2 sophomores that have done a great job stepping up, learning as they go, taking the coaching, understanding how to do it, when to do it, and at the pace it takes to do it and do really well at it. And they've improved every week, and that's great to see as well. So all around, just hats off.
Yeah, again, a huge asset there. You touched on it. We talked about those. Your secondary, we talked about your guys up front, and it's like you're reading my mind. I commented this with a few questions in my thought process.
Makes me nervous here.
Well, he's all in my notes, and I hadn't even taken it anyway. But you mentioned some young guys, a young core there. 2-part question here. You got 2 guys, I think, about the linebacker spot that have played some significant minutes, Jack Stafford being one of those, and then Caleb Oates, who's played really significant minutes and played well. Talk to us about the benefit to having those guys early, because obviously we've got them for another 2 years, and them being able to perform, and then guys like Reed Owens and Trey Ballantyne that are and Cheese Gordon to kind of bringing them along and making the process simple.
Exactly. You know, we touched on it, I think, early in the season. We had 4 really good seniors last year on defense that played a lot of defense. They knew how I wanted to play. They knew how Joe wanted to play. You know, they knew our identity. Well, Ballantyne, Reed, Dangerfield, Omar, Corey, those guys played with those guys, but they weren't necessarily expected to be the man with those guys, you know, because they had 4 really good ones. Well, we challenged them, and they finally come on probably second half of Lincoln County. You see the light click. We play a lot better defense. And now at practice, they're setting the tone. They're taking the young guys, you know, so we're not trying to improve all 11. Now we spend a lot of our time improving Oates, Jack, Buckner, and Caldwell when they come in and play meaningful D-line minutes up front. You know, we're Bubba in the secondary, Smith Collier in the secondary. We can pick and choose where we're doing it because our older guys have finally understood what we want, and we don't have to necessarily coach them as hard as we had to, you know, and that has allowed our development of our young guys to come along.
And that has to, obviously that's huge, and that's what you want to see in every sport and every team, when you find kids that can almost be an extension of you on the field. And you see that from guys like Rito. As I feel like there's not a spot on the football field that Rito can't play. I feel like we need to put him in right guard tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
We could go put him in right guard, and he could trap and pull all night. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of kid, and that's a great asset to have. I asked the same question to David O'Connor, and I'll ask it to you. We're starting the second quarter. You're down 13-0. You had some things that were kind of out of your control. Obviously, we gave up the one touchdown due to, again, the mistake on offense. What do you tell your kids to kind of settle our feet and let's get back to playing Bobcat football and executing and making plays?
Well, it's like I told you earlier, we knew it was going to be 48 minutes. That game was not going to be decided in the first or the second. We knew they were going to start fast. They were explosive. It is what it is. That's the game we want to play. How big, I can't say it on the radio, but, how much you got in you.
Yeah, right.
What game do you want to play?
Yes,
right?
sir.
Everybody can go out and do it when it's good. What do you got about you when you're down 13-0? Who's going to step up and make the play now and get us back in the game? Who's going to continue to do what they're supposed to do and keep us in the game, And our guys do a great job of that, and not just defensively, offensively, do a great job at that, And it's always great to play complementary football. Sometimes offense ain't got it going. Those guys practice too. They've got a great game plan too. And defense needs to step up and hold. And there'll be a time and place when maybe some teams got a good beat on us defensively. And then offense has got to keep us in the game. And it's just great to know that each side's going to have each other. Each side's going to play complementary football until we can get it figured out and settled and then start chipping away. Once we got it, be where your feet are, settle down, weather the storm. Now we can play Bobcat football. Understand that it's going to take 48 minutes. Those guys aren't equipped to go 48, I don't think. Most of the time, I don't think the teams that we play are wanting to go 48 minutes. It's just not in a high school kid's mentality to say, I'm going to do this every day for 48 minutes, every play. They just don't have it, and that's our mentality. They're going to quit before we do. We preach that. We live that, I think, I hope. And so far, it showed up, and I hope it continues to show up.
I said it off air, and I'll say it here on the air. You have absolutely coached your behind off this season with what this group of kids, making adjustments and getting them to buy into the system. Job well done, young man. You're absolutely killing it.
Tanner Holly is the defensive coordinator. You guys were getting a little serious right there. I could, you're almost foaming at the mouth. You're talking so much football. I did have a question, though. We're now 2 weeks into the college football season. We kicked off NFL last week. Just as a coordinator, kind of a football guy, I want to ask you, are you watching those games and kind of sitting there thinking, ooh, I like this. Ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I feel like you might be, and I'm just curious how that process, 100%. If it does play out for you.
100%. You always appreciate, like I think I tell the kids all the time, don't watch the game. And obviously that's what people tune in to do is watch the game. Well, if I play football, I know, like for instance, watch the Alabama-Texas game. I know that Steve Sarkisian is a great offensive mind. I know that Steve Sarkisian is going to get the ball dressed up as good as it can be dressed up in formations, swings. Who's he going to get the ball to? What are teams doing to stop him? What's their answer? What do they do there? I like going back and watching YouTube clips because you can find just about every game in a cut down offense versus defense only, and you can find out, okay, what was their answer to this? All right, I know that you play Lane Kiffin, it's going to be a lot of zone read. He's going to run, it's going to spread you out, read a guy, throw off another guy. Okay, well, what's Alabama's answer? What's Georgia's answer? I love watching Baylor play because I like it used to be LSU's D coordinator, now he's the head coach in David Aranda. He's always got great answers, and he normally does it at a place where, because he came from Hawaii, he came from Utah State, he went to Wisconsin. You do it with dudes necessarily that aren't better than everybody else. Right?
Can't rely on the talent alone.
Exactly. So, because if that's your breakdown in your scheme is, our dude's just better than them, it don't matter what do you do when things are equal, and what do you do when you're behind? And that's the great thing to find out and watch. And you watch. I like watching a little smaller college ball. Middle Tennessee. We always talk about Middle Tennessee.
Yep.
They're ranked the best run defense in NCAA per Pro Football Focus, and they got the highest graded safety in the run fit per Pro Football Focus. So you think, what are they doing? How are they playing this? What is their answer to this? Talk to their linebacker coach from time to time. What do they do? What is this? What is this? And just to see, it's a continual improvement. What can we do better, right? What can we do? We do this. What's an answer? You always got to have answers, I think, And that's what I always like to see that, and it's no better to do it than watch the dudes that do it well.
Yeah.
Talk about a student of the game.
Yeah,
boy. now I'm foaming at the mouth for real. Like what an answer.
Getting me fired up here. Since you mentioned it, MTSU playing well. They stomped Colorado State over the weekend. There is a rumor floating around that I will be back on campus on Saturday night when they take on TSU, and it'll be interesting because you got Eddie George, the head coach of the TSU Tigers, coming in. And he might have a stiff challenge awaiting him with that defensive line like you're talking about.
The defensive line and the linebackers must be playing pretty good. I haven't I watched probably 7 minutes of the James Madison game, just on and off. It wasn't great for him, so I didn't watch any of the Colorado State game. I just saw that. I stumbled across that.
Caught me by surprise a little bit.
I know, me too, because I thought, it is what it is. But then they come out and play well. Colorado State's decent at times, 7-8 wins yearly. So that was a big win for them.
Good win. So I'm tentatively scheduled to be there on Saturday, and I'm going to be on the hunt for your statue. I know it was under construction when you were on campus, we will see.
Just make sure you get me and Tanner tickets. That's all. We're
now
really concerned about.
we might could do that. Hey, speaking of some unsung programs and some unsung heroes, Tanner, we've got a couple of pieces of hardware we like to hand out, and we like to begin with our Scout Team Player of the Week. I'm curious why Joseph Newsom, who's our Player of the Week this week, presented by Leadership Logistics, what does he bring to the table in terms of your Scout team that's giving you such a good look?
Well, we will bring him up.
Yeah, come on.
Well, his name on here is Joseph Newsom. We know him as Bubba. That's what everybody knows him as. Bubba does a good job. He's not on the Scout offense. He's on the Scout defense, so he gets the short straw of having to deal with me all day long.
That is tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Bubba does a good job. It's always tough playing Scout D because, you necessarily don't always know where they're going to be because we can't tell them where to line up. But Bubba does a good job at whatever we tell him to do. He does it going hard. He does it doing as to the best of his ability and still trying to do what we coach him to do. Like trying to improve his technique as well as giving a look of community. And so that's why we wanted to recognize Bubba. Bubba does a good job. He shows up. He works hard. We appreciate Bubba.
He is the Leadership Logistics LLC Scout Team Player of the Week, and Mr. Bubba Joseph Newsom. Let's see what he's got to say. Your coach, Tanner, first of all, and Chris may expand on this. What's it like you got to deal with a guy like Coach Holly all day long?
Well, this ain't live, right?
Yeah, this is live, so you got to collect your thoughts here, my friend. But we want a real answer here.
Well, personally, before I ever played football, I just played just to play. But when I came over to GCH, Coach Tanner really made me see more into what football really is. He made me love the sport and love the team and everything like that. But working with Tanner, it does have its downsides.
There we go.
The truth.
He's a real. Luckily, he is a real stickler about technique and everything. So, and it's hard because when I mess up on technique, not going full speed, and he gets on me. It ain't fun. Especially when he about have an aneurysm every day.
Right.
That's just a sign that he loves you and loves the sport. I think it's great to hear you say that having a coach like Tanner kind of opens your eyes up to what the game is really all about. So for us, what's your favorite part now that you kind of love the game? What's your favorite part about playing football here in Giles County?
My favorite part is helping the team really get ready to what we our payday on Friday. I love I still love hitting people.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the best.
No
part
wonder
about
you
football.
two get along so well. That was kind of his go-to thing, man. It makes sense now. So congratulations, man. We appreciate you, Mr. Bubba.
Thank you.
Bubba Newsom is your Scout Team Player of the Week, and since we can't have one trophy without the other, we'll bring our next guest up here. And Tanner, how hard was it to decide who was our Special Teams Player of the Week this week?
One of the easiest ones we've ever had.
Okay, we joked that we
somebody else, but Chase just sort of.
I personally thought it'd be a great joke to play if we did give it to somebody else this week, but it is Chase Carden. He connects on one from 38. He connects on one from 47. Coach David O'Connor mentioned it. We are very blessed and fortunate to have such a good kicking game right now.
And outside of the kick or the field goals, the kickoffs may have made the biggest difference because you take a team that's explosive, that wants to score every play, and make them go 80, it's difficult. Mm-hmm. And Chase had, 6 touchbacks? 6 touchbacks back?
He left one just shy.
Five touchbacks is huge. That's right. So 5 touchbacks is still, I mean, that's huge. Make a team go 80. They can't do it consistently, and they didn't do it consistently, and that made just as big a difference as the field goals did. That's impressive. That helps us a lot.
No doubt. And it is our honor and privilege to have Chase. I think he just likes winning these awards so he can come up here and eat Kitchen 218 every Wednesday. You're back again, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, real quickly before we go any further, I do want the record to show that Chase was at the Lady Bobcat soccer match last night. They got a big win, 2-1 versus Lincoln County, and you said, well, I'm going to just say it. You said the referees were getting on to you a little bit. I said that's the football guy in him coming out. You were kind of getting after it, right?
The refs were like talking to us for no reason. We were agging on our players, not theirs. So the refs came over to us. They were like, "Please be quiet," and we started laughing at them. And even their players were like, "Please don't laugh at us. Like we're not laughing at y'all. We're laughing at our team."
Yeah. So you were being sincere about it. First of all, again, congratulations. You make the 47-yarder last week, but I do want to know what were you thinking in those moments, because that is a pressure cooker of a situation.
I was like, "Uh-oh, this is the time I've been practicing for." OC's been trying to give me long field goals in the entire time, like in practices and stuff. So I was just like, "Oh, I gotta make this. This is huge. This is probably gonna win the game for us."
That was a huge point in the ball game, being able to knock those in both situations. We talked about the field goals. We've also talked about kickoffs, but something that I think a lot of people overlook in the game of football is being able to flip the field. And we've seen that in multiple games this season. Your punting ability, which is something that sometimes, again, gets overlooked, we don't talk about, but being able to push teams back and make them, again, drive the ball length of the field. Talk to us about working on your technique as far as being able to coffin corner or get the roll that you want to make the ball drop where you need it to so that your defense has a good possession.
Their kicker, he was punting it more high, so it was like at more of a bad bounce. But if you kick it up and out, the momentum is gonna carry it forward, and you just gotta do the rugby rollout so you can pin it in the corner. Because I know one punt I had went down at the 3 because our men got down there and got the ball down.
And that's something that, again, that you've done time and time again. And I think it's an ability and a talent that gets overlooked, but just the knowledge of the fact that what you alluded to, realizing that what their kicker was doing, obviously getting the roll the opposite direction, which sometimes is what you want, depending on where you're kicking it from. It's a huge asset. Again, just what are things that you do throughout the week? Because I know a lot of times kickers get the bad shrug, that people think they just walk around and practice and eat Doritos and drink Kool-Aid and stuff like that. But I know there's more to it than that to get prepared. So what are some things that you do throughout the week to help you get ready for Friday night?
Most time it's like specialty helps a lot. Like I work with Hick and the snappers and stuff. We just punt back and forth. And then we go to field goal, and then we have a period that's just for like punting. And we just try to get all our returners down there and get them down.
Chase, this was a tough game last Friday. We obviously had 2 massive field goals. How do you get ready for a new game like this, though, where, let's be honest, we hope that we don't see you try any field goals. We like to see the Cats score a touchdown every drive, but how do you still stay sharp knowing that you kind of got a little bit easier opponent on Friday?
I just do my same drills that I do every day, just repetition, keep going from the same spots, like go far, go in, just repetition, really.
And we've been bragging on you a little bit on and off air. You made a 47-yard field goal on Friday. There was an NFL team in Nashville that missed a 47-yard field goal.
Yep.
So we're not saying, we're just saying. You made yours, and Mr. Bullock missed his, unfortunately. I asked Tanner kind of a similar question, though. Final question here. Are you watching college and pro ball and kind of trying to pick up anything on these kickers?
I'm trying to
punters?
pick up their technique and stuff, because they're punting the ball way higher than me and way farther. So I'm trying to pick up on their technique and stuff, go to camps and everything, and get better.
Perfect. Chase Carton, congratulations. Back-to-back Special Teams Player of the Week. Try and spread the love around to somebody else next go-around, okay? I mean, we're always glad to see you, but if it's okay.
I'm not. But we'll let you slide.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, y'all got a little bad blood. Chase, thank you very much, brother. And Tanner, as always, thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We're going to do, I know you're the track coach, we're going to do a baton handoff to Coach David O'Connor here as we are running a little thin on time. We are live at Kitchen 218. It is the Bobcat Football Coaches Show. We're presented each and every single Wednesday night by the fine folks at Leadership Logistics. OC, we welcome you back in. There was a lot of good football talk between Chris Bledsoe and Tanner Holly a moment ago. I'm curious, how much do you guys get together and kind of just nerd out when talk about football? Is that like the whole bus ride back? Is that the whole film on Friday night, or is it just always going on?
It's pretty much always going on. That's 365 days a year we're talking football of some type, pretty much around the clock. So other than those few hours of school, it's football all year. You know, we get a good opportunity to work with our kids and try to teach them not just preparing for a single game, but for working for the entire season. You know, we try to break our full year into a football game.
Right.
You know, so we do things by quarters all year round. So it's preparing for football year round and just football IQ year round.
Obviously, that's something that bleeds over to your kids, and when you're preparing for that right there, you mentioned this on multiple occasions about preparing for the year in itself. Obviously, there is a end goal there that you're looking for, but there's also an immediate goal. What are things that you guys do to prepare for, again, weeks down the road, but obviously also keeping your attention on the game at hand?
Well, that's always a slippery slope, you know. You don't want your kids looking too far ahead, but then again, you do not want your kids to not be prepared when the time comes. So like, for example, this week itself, we've put a lot of time in on some what Paige is going to be doing. As a matter of fact, you know, we gave a good 2 days of this week into looking at what Paige does offensively, what they do defensively, special teams. Our offensive line and defensive line will know. The offensive line currently should know what their 3 or 4 favorite blitzes are and how we're going to protect them against the pass. Our defensive front knows their 4 or 5 favorite runs and how we're supposed to fit those runs. And you know, we're real fortunate we're playing community this week because offensively they run similar things. They run the same formations and the same 3 or 4 type plays. So we got to kind of double dip as we're doing it. But that's just what we're trying to do in advance. And as well as, you know, everything we do, we talk every week about is what we're doing right now good enough, not to beat community, not to beat whoever. Is it good enough to beat Alcoa? You know, because Alcoa is our end goal.
Yeah.
And if you notice the scoreboard show from last week, they had a huge win over Maryville.
Double-digit touchdown.
You know, we're talking about playing up 5A. That's what they do on a regular. Alcoa does it on a regular basis as well. So if we're going to get to that level, we're going to play that guy and beat them. And we talk about it every week. If we're going to beat them the day after Thanksgiving, then we got to be prepared.
It'd be huge, and that's obviously it's good to have those end goals in sight. Do play a little bit. We do want to play a little bit of good sports here with community. What challenges will they bring to the table on Friday?
I think they are improved a little bit from last year. I think they have one good receiver that was back. He was tough against us last year. They've got a good solid quarterback. They are a 5-man front defense. You know, they basically stay in a 5-2. The old school guys, the old heads would call it a 50 defense.
Uh-huh.
They're an old 50 defense, and they play up a matchup man coverage in the secondary. Here's what you can expect of the special teams. They never do anything other than onside kicks. They do not kick a field goal. They always go for 2 for extra points, and so it's just they use 0 kicking game. So we have not had to prepare much for their kicking game at all. We've worked a lot of our hands receiving team this week, trying to prepare it because if they score, they're going to onside it at us every time. So,
yeah, and on a hot night, we've kind of joked off air about playing cards a little bit. On a hot night, you recover a couple onside kicks, you get a couple 2-point conversions.
And it changes the whole complexion of the game, I can tell you that. You can go – I mean, but before we ever touched it, if they got a couple onside kicks and was scoring on a regular basis, it could be 24-0. and then you got a long road to hoe.
No doubt. With that being said, Coach, we thank you so much for joining us each and every single Wednesday here at the Coaches Show. I'm losing track of my days already.
You'll be chasing me down come Friday.
No, there ain't no doubt. And I did want to ask you, we've talked a lot about last week versus Franklin County. We've talked about community on Friday. I am just curious, what must the Cats do well if they want to go up to Unionville? Have you ever been to Unionville, first of all?
First of all, I've never been to Unionville. From what I hear now, there's a really nice place to eat up there called Nash's Family Creamery. It's supposed to be a really nice place to eat. So if anybody, you guys,
Tanner Holly's not
coming on the road with us to Unionville, you may want to get there early and eat at Nash's Family Creamery. It's supposed to be really good. But what we need to do when we get there, first of all, we got to take care of the ball. We got to make sure we handle all those onside kicks and all the things they throw at us. And if we can score one more point, we're going to win.
Man, Coach, you never fail to deliver each and every single week. I love it. Best of luck coming up on Friday. Chris and I are making our debut in Unionville, so we're all in this together is what I'm trying to say.
Doubt.
So,
that's right.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up with you next week. Thank you for being here tonight.
Guys, as always.
That is Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. 218, the host tonight, Kitchen 218, on another award-winning edition of the Bobcat Football Coaches Show. Chris, I'm thankful for GPS on Friday because we've been to community for basketball games, but this will be my first rodeo up there for a football game on Friday.
This will be my first time going over there for a football game as well. I'm excited. Again, deep down inside, I love every ball game, but there's something about a region game that gets me a little giddy because, again, those are the games that count. Those are the games that you want to win all of them, but those are the games that really have some bearing to them. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to playing the Vikings on Friday night. We'll be there live and in color. Can't wait.
I look forward to it, partner. Thanks to Chris Bledsoe. Thanks to Tanner Holly. Thanks to Chase Carden. Thanks to Bubba Newsom. And thanks to all of our crowd on hand here tonight at Kitchen 218. Bobcats head coach David O'Connor. And I'm Wade Neely. We are halfway through the high school football season after Friday night. All three of us are shaking our heads here because it is absolutely flying by. Thanks to Kitchen 218 as always. And we will see you tomorrow night up in Linville at the Soda Pop Junction. Yours truly alongside Jennifer Hawkins. And as the Richland Raiders get set to tangle with Cascade on Friday. Again, that's all the time we've got. Thank you guys for being with us. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show presented each and every single Wednesday live from Kitchen 218 by Leadership Logistics, LLC. Good night.